It's another absolutely absurd day in the world of Magic the Gathering. There is a massive Amazon fire sale for Commander Masters going on when the set hasn't even been released yet. And on top of that, we absolutely have to talk about these new ridiculous eBay card grading guidelines. They're hilarious.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for a juicy installment of Mega Magic News. Now, before we dive into the insanity of the Commander Masters fire sale and the hilarity of the eBay situation, I just want to take a moment to address, I know there are a bunch of people who are feeling low about Magic right now, and if you feel like you can't really handle any more negativity, well, I've got a treat for you. Over on my other channel, I make Magic the Gathering lore videos, and I just released a video about the earliest days, the earliest lore, what it's like to be a mortal under the sway of powerful planeswalkers. The thumbnail looks like this. You can watch it now if you want, or you can check it out after this video is done. That out of the way, let us talk about this insanity. Wizards of the Coast is out of their minds. Commander Masters appears to maybe be the actual ceiling of what Wizards can charge for these style of reprint sets, because we are getting we already had an Amazon fire sale for this product. Now, if you're aware of these Amazon dumps, and if you're somebody who lives in Canada and you're like me, you might be going, wait, what are you talking about? Because we never get that here. There's never discount days in Canada. That kind of stuff only happens over in the USA. I don't know if it actually happens like worldwide as well, but as far as I know, it's focused on the USA where Wizards is located, right? And they're using Amazon as essentially a way to kind of sidestep dealing with distributors, because the traditional method for distribution used to be like Wizards actually had their own distribution arm, and then they would also ship to all these different authorized distributors, and as an LGS, you would go to one of those distributors to get your cards. Now this model is breaking down because Wizards of the Coast used to be the source, but now they're acting more like a direct competitor to the actual LGSs. This is a complete departure from how it used to be. So you have a situation where what happens is Wizards of the Coast basically is like, here's what we're going to send out to all of you distributors, right? And the distributors go to all the game stores saying, okay, here's what we're getting, here's the allocation of what you're allowed to order. So the stores put in their orders, and you have to understand that when you're dealing with a distributor, they will pay attention to how much you're buying from them. So if you don't buy enough, you will essentially be punished going forwards. I mean, it's not technically called punishment, but it certainly feels like it when you are given diminished access to products going forwards. Wizards of the Coast does something similar with their pre-release kits. If you get X number of pre-release kits, but you don't get enough people coming out, they'll start to cut back the number of pre-release kits you get. And the same thing goes for distributors, where it's like, if you're not buying 50 boxes, then next time, maybe we're not going to let you get 50 boxes. Maybe we're only going to let you get 40. And if you only get 30 of those, then we're only going to let you get 20. And it just kind of goes down like that. So game stores need to maintain a good relationship with their distributor. They have to order this stuff months and months in advance. So long after the game stores have locked in their orders with the distributors, all that's done, Wizards of the Coast comes out and undercuts the market to the point where, and this is where it gets really wild. If you don't understand the margins that game stores make, Magic has razor thin margins. If you go into a game store and they have board games on the wall, they can be making like up to 50% profit on that. So if they bought it for 10, they get to sell it for 20, right? With Magic the Gathering, 10%, if you're lucky, is the margin you're making. The margins are razor thin. If you sell a $100 box, you're not getting $50 like with the board game. You're getting $10, right? So you've got a 10% margin. Wizards of the Coast turns around and fire sales a bunch of products at 15% off. 15% off, which for some of the smaller LGSs is literally less than the price they paid their distributor. If you don't understand what I'm saying that these LGSs, instead of ordering Magic from their distributor, could have waited, ordered the boxes from Amazon, and it would have been cheaper for them. This is an insane new world. LGSs are already getting hosed where people turn around and go, why don't you just sell pop and chips and what? It's like, because, I don't know, maybe they weren't looking to operate a convenience store. But the hard truth is that Wizards of the Coast is no longer looking at LGSs as something to genuinely support. If you've been around long enough, you might remember the days of From the Vault. And I'm bringing this up to explain to you that Wizards is absolutely aware of the relationship between the distributors and the LGSs, because in the past, they tried to help them. They created the From the Vault series, which was a reprint series. It's amazing how much things have changed. This was a reprint series designed specifically to help LGSs. So they were specialized box sets. One, they even broke the reserve list for. They changed the reserve list and made a foil reprint of a card just to put it in this From the Vault. And the idea went like this. They gave it a low MSRP intentionally so that the distributors, they charge a percentage of MSRP, right? So then they go, okay, off to you, you get it nice and cheap, but then the stores could sell it for much more. So Wizards intentionally made a product that was meant to not give the distributors much profit margin and to be marked up at the LGS level as a love note to LGSs. That was, I guess, in the ancient times now. It wasn't just a couple of years ago now that I think about it. That was a number of years ago. But either way, it's a complete contrast to what we're seeing now, where Wizards is doing these crazy reprint sets. They're putting them in at insanely high prices. The game stores have to try and guess, well, how much of this is even going to be purchased? And we're reaching the point where a bunch of whales even are going, actually, I'm stepping back from this. They've hit that crazy threshold where they've just gone too far with it and people are stepping back. But at the same time, LGSs have to have ordered all this stuff. They're stuck with it. They might be able to pull back on some of the orders, but some distributors strong arm you and go, no, your orders are locked in. You have to buy these or you can't deal with this anymore. LGSs are in the worst position in Magic. And as far as I'm concerned, they're what helped build this game. Magic was built through social interaction and communicating with each other. Now, admittedly, the internet wasn't as big a thing as it was. So you can say, well, it didn't exist in the way, so it couldn't have had that much of an impact back then. And obviously, you had to go word of mouth. But I genuinely believe that a network of LGSs is super important. I don't think that Magic grows normally and organically in this casual way that we're being told with the whole Commander thing, where it's just like, well, actually, it turns out not a bunch of people are going to the stores and people are just playing casually at home. But then Wizards has to turn around and go, well, now the standard format is going to be increased to a 3-year format instead of a 2-year format because we have all this product that we can't sell and we need it to stay standard legal. That doesn't sound to me like a growing player base. That sounds like a shrinking player base. The Commander players aren't soaking this up. You had all these intentions underneath it all, right? So Wizards of the Coast is scrambling. I think that at one point they thought they could kind of, you know what, maybe if we just get rid of LGSs and get all their customers onto Arena, and then they were just like, wait a minute, this isn't working, now what do we do? And it's so we got different options. So you've got this situation where the LGSs are getting squeezed on one side by the Amazon dump before the set even comes out. And then on the other side, you've got Wizards of the Coast ready to squeeze every dime they can out of the secondary market, not just with these reprint sets, but also with targeted secret layers that can come out of nowhere. So anything the LGS has had to prop them up, it's like, okay, you have to overspend on boxes. You might not be able to actually sell those boxes and move them on. You might have to dump them, especially when we're going to, like, if they're 15% fire sailing it before the set comes out, how much are they going to be fire sailing it for after the set comes out? Wizards of the Coast is doing these desperate knee-jerk reactions that ultimately have a huge impact on LGSs. As far as I'm concerned, there's two kinds of LGSs. There's the hobby shop LGS, where the owner is super excited to be running a game store, loves playing Magic, and like you go and check it out. He's like, check out all these boxes I've got for my own personal collection. Check out my decks and everything, bro, and all this stuff is coming in. Woo! And then you have the other type of LGS owner who's like, I never get to sleep. I hate my life. I am constantly fulfilling orders. I have an online crystal commerce. I've got all this going, and my like night and day, it's just constant sell. And Magic's not even worth it. Now I'm moving into Digimon, One Piece, all this sort of thing. I think there's two types. You've got the mega stressed, actually successful business, and then you have the casual, hey, let's have a good time business. And the casual businesses are just getting bam, bam, elbow dropped from nowhere. This is going to, like, the next year or two is going to crush most LGSs out of business at this rate. And I wonder if Wizards of the Coast actually has just decided that LGSs don't matter, that they're the competition and they need to be removed so that Wizards can just go directly through Amazon. But it's so short-sighted. You need actual players going in and playing the games. LGSs genuinely matter. And if you look at other games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, their upper management stuff is apparently talking about how nobody new is coming into the game. And it makes me wonder if that's what's going on with Magic. Are we seeing bumps where people are going, yo, I like Lord of the Rings, or I want to chase the One Ring, or the Warhammer stuff, but ultimately we're not seeing growth in the player base. Either way, don't want to get too off aside from the main point that fire sailing like this before the set even comes out is the biggest slap in the face to the LGSs. They're the ones trying the hardest. They're basically the representatives of Magic at all time. And more, they're turning away from it going, there's nothing here for me. I'm literally losing money. You expect me to what? Sell 100 bags of chips a night to keep this place open? What am I supposed to charge? $8 a bag for chips? It's just, I don't know. Obviously for me as well, I'm deeply tied into LGSs. They mean a lot to me. I'm someone who's went to them for my whole life. I seek them out in new cities. They're cozy little homes to me. So obviously I have a bias in that regard as well. Now, let's talk about something that this is ridiculous and hilarious at the same time. I just looked at it and went, okay, so let me get this straight. eBay has changed its grading system. Here you go, guys. Here's the grading guidelines. And they drive me crazy. So, for you to understand card grading, I need to explain to you the concept of mint cards, all right? The idea of a mint card actually comes from the idea of coin minting, where it's like, whoa, this was made at the mint, but as soon as it leaves the mint, it's considered near mint. So it's as close to the mint as it can be. Now, for most of Magic's history, near mint cards meant just that. The cards come out of the package and they are flawless. You look at them and there's no problems with them. Now, if you've just started playing Magic in the last few years, you don't know what I'm talking about. You're like, no, every card comes out with some kind of damage, right? There's stuff along the edges, or they're smeared, or they're printed poorly. Like there's no packs that don't have cards that don't have a bunch of problems, bro. What are you even talking about? But back in the day, that was super rare. That was super, super rare. Now, it's so insane that the One Ring got a 9 grade. Magic 30, if you're curious, the cards are terrible. All the edges are janked. I opened a number of packs of them over on my Hatcher YouTube channel, so if you want to go and see that train wreck, you can check it out, but the card quality is so bad. So, eBay's new grading. Oh, I'm going to put the chart up for you. Let me put the chart up on the screen, guys. Okay. Near mint. A near mint card can have chipped corners. It can have chipped edges. So this is near mint. Chipped corners and chipped edges. But that's not all. Surface indentations. Why not? You want scratches on it? Sure. Minor scratches? Granted. Minor scuffing. The card can be scuffed, scratched, damaged around the edges, and it's called near mint. It gets more fun when you move into the lightly played category. I can't even, bro. Lightly played allows moderate whitening. I love the word moderate because there's a category called moderately played. That's literally a category. So lightly played can have moderate whitening, moderate chipping. It can have moderate scuffs, moderate scratches, and even some stains, bro. Literally even stains. Like, what is going on? Cards are getting ever more expensive. Standards are getting ever lower. Wizards of the Coast has made so many garbo cards at so much of a garbage level that eBay is literally turning around and changing their card grading guidelines so that lightly played cards are moderately played cards, and lightly played cards are like near mint cards can be. You can turn your lightly played cards into near mint. It's just basically nothing matters. There are no rules. Upgrade it by whatever category. It's it's purest insanity. How can we be living in an era where magic cards are more expensive than other, and they're in the worst quality than ever, and then you could just take a beat up card and call it new mint, like near mint, bro, for real. Is this the Matrix? Is life just a big joke on me? Am I the only real person and this is all a simulation that's slowly designed to drive me crazy? Where over like 30 to 40 years, you take something I love and just pound it to death in front of me? Is that what's going on? I don't know. Either way, I'm going to leave a link to the new lore video if you want some good times there, and to a Magic 30 opening if you want that insanity too. Thanks for coming by, my friends. I'll see you for the next video and the next step of the Magic Apocalypse.